Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AEye Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AEye Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AEye Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to AEye Scouted on Anfield Index Pro. I'm Dave Hendrick, joined as always by Mr. Karl Matchett. How are you, sir?
Somewhere between stellar and quite comfortable. How are you?
I'm good. I am ready for the World Cup. I would like it to begin now so we can get it over and done with.
As a famous tree once said, don't be hasty.
Well, we are going to do some World Cup coverage today. In this first podcast of what I think is going to be 4 that we're going to record today, this is going to be our World Cup predictions podcast. And this should be a bit of fun. So Guy is going to join us as well. We're going to predict the groups in terms of the order the teams finish in. Then we will predict the knockout phases and come up with who we believe will win the competition. So any last words before we get started, gents?
Good morning to Mr. Guy Drinkle from me.
I got Qatar in the sweepstakes, so I'm annoyed.
Get in!
Yeah.
I got Senegal with Sadio in his crutches, so I'm none too happy either.
I got Qatar, Dave. I don't
you
know
get to play in the opening game. You're at least your hopes of winning it will be over after Ecuador wipe the floor with them on Sunday. Senegal are going to drag it out a little bit and give me hope before eventually failing. Karl, were you as involved in the sweepstakes?
No, I'm not involved because for whatever reason over the last month or so, my Discord notifications have completely stopped working. So I missed all the Raw stuff and then I've missed this as well. So I'll have to try and fix that and sort it all out because that's no good whatsoever.
That's not good. You might need to uninstall the Discord app on your laptop and then reinstall it, and that might solve some of the issues.
The slightly more modern day stuff of turn it off and turn it back on again.
Yeah.
Yes, basically. Right, well, let's get started then. Let's start with Group A. I might as well go first on this one, and we can rotate through. I've got Netherlands top, Ecuador second, Senegal third, and Qatar fourth. Karl, how does that line up with you?
Well, obviously, I think everybody now will be looking forward to, what is it going to be? Is it match day 2? Senegal against sports washing Gus's Qatar. That's going to be the big one in terms of...
Do you want a cheeky separate fiver bet, Dave? I reckon Qatar can do a draw. If the draw, I should get the fiver.
Yeah, that's fair.
A draw or a win?
Draw or win for Qatar, fiver for me. Senegal win, fiver for you.
So I honestly think that the Senegal squad missing not just Mane, but also fiend Keita Balde, only joking, solicitors obviously, but still the suspension stands, is a really, really big thing. I think that they lack any kind of individuality and probably a bit of magic now in the final third without those two. So I am wondering whether Ecuador now managed to grind their way through to the last 16. Senegal were definitely in my top 2 to begin with. But those two absences are quite significant, I think, for Senegal.
Yeah, I think they will be. I think obviously both of them have been very, very important to Senegal over the last few years. The Balde news wasn't something that they needed. And then obviously the Mane injury is kind of worst case scenario for them. Now, obviously he's in the squad and we'll see can he play? Does he feature at all? Has he just been brought along for the purposes of having him around the place? But I think Ecuador beat them anyway. I just think this Ecuador team is really well set up. I think they're going to be one of the surprise packages of the competition, and I can see them causing the Dutch a lot of trouble as well because of how they play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still 50-50 on how good or otherwise I think Netherlands will be, to be honest. I think they have the capacity to be one of the best sides to watch, but organisationally there's still a few issues in midfield especially. But I am going to go with them top, and I'll go with Ecuador second.
Right, and Guy, what have you got?
I've got it the same. I think without Mane, the attack for Senegal will be completely different, and Qatar, they just have random Brazilian people who I hope is going to get me a fiver.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So, Netherlands, Ecuador, Senegal, Qatar, we're all aligned on that one. Karl, what about Group B? How do you have that shaking out?
I have gone England to top the group. I think this is a very changeable group, to be honest, depending on a couple of the early fixtures. I basically went through and put all the results in initially, and I had England topping the group on 5 points, a win and 2 draws. That's how dismal I think this group of English defenders in particular is, but also how close I think some of the matches could be. I've got Wales second, which is mostly on a lot of effort and one victory again. USA, I think, maybe have the most technical team outside of England. But their organisation is a mess at the moment. Like their most recent friendlies and qualifiers that they played were just so unimpressive against Japan, especially. I thought they were a mess. And so I am going to go with USA bottom, Iran third, Wales second, England first.
Okay, Guy, what about yourself?
I have England top, which I'm becoming more doubtful by the day because I watched previews of like the Sky one, and I think there was a Lad Bible one, and the starting partnership at defence was John Stones, which I think everyone will agree with, and then they were discussing Eric Dyer or Harry Maguire as his partner in a back four, and I was like, I reckon any team in this competition could score against that back line. So, yeah, that's becoming less doubtful, but I've still got them top. Wales second, because Gareth Bale is the best player in the world when he puts a Wales shirt on. I put Iran third, because I think they're the best Asian section team, sector team, and USA, because, well, didn't they come third in the CONCACAF or whatever, whichever one that's called. So, yeah, that's not a good look. So, yeah, I think Iran seem to be quite consistently getting into these tournaments. Maybe not do the best, but I could see Iran or Wales going through. But USA seem a mess by all accounts who watch them.
Yeah, I've got England top as well. Iran second, Wales third, and the USA bottom of the group. I think if this was a tough group, I could see England struggling, but I just don't see it with this. Like, all these teams can cause England issues. Iran can cause them issues with the physicality they have up front. Wales can cause them issues by Gareth Bale doing madness. And the Americans, if it clicked for them with a lot of the talent that they have, they could turn, especially a defence with the likes of John Stones, Harry Maguire, and potentially Eric Dyer in it. They could turn them round and really hurt them, but is anyone putting faith in Greg Berhalter and his methods? So I think England, Iran, Wales, and USA.
I think that's probably a point worth making over England, though, as well. If it clicked and if they play as well as some of those players are capable of, they would wipe the floor with this group. Similarly, if England don't click and USA suddenly found themselves with, let's say, Pulisic, Aronson, and whoever else they decide to play up front, all working really well in tandem, they could win this group. But just neither of those teams are, at the minute, very cohesive, very well organised, have a very settled back line even. You look at USA have called up Tim Ream into the squad and probably struggling to the lineup, for example, and yet he's not even been part of the national team setup over the last 18 months or so. Goalkeeper for the last 9 qualifiers was Zach Steffen, and he's not made the squad in the end. So it's just very, very difficult to believe that things will suddenly fall into place for either of those two teams based on that kind of.
That is Zach Stephanie got man of the match in the Karl Guy derby at the weekend. I'm just saying.
Yeah, playing.
It's a 1-0
well
to me.
Borough.
Yeah, it's a 1-0 to me, Mr. Matches.
There's also the fact that you have to figure in with Iran of there's definitely going to be some distraction among the playing squad there, given everything that's currently happening in Iran and the government decreed today or yesterday that the 15,000 people who've been arrested for protesting should all be executed. There's been some talk that one or two of the players who've spoken out in support of the protests should be left out of the squad or sent home. So this is definitely going to be an interesting group. I think England will probably ease their way through. Let's move to Group C. Guy, why don't you go first on this one?
So I have Argentina in first. It was difficult with second and third because Mexico only exists to get into the round of 16 and no further. They obviously have the best goalkeeper in the competition with international Ochoa. But Poland always seem to be that team where everyone says they might be Turkey this year and get third or whatever, and then just never do. Obviously with Lewandowski there, some good defenders, Szczesny's all right. But I have put them second because I think Mexico, with the injuries that Mexico seemingly have with Jimenez, I'm guessing he's still their main striker even after the head injury. I'm guessing he'll be in a mad rush to get fit. Yeah, unless Ochoa does a madness, and I think a couple of defenders are injured as well, maybe midfielders. So I put Poland there.
Jesus Karl was injured as well.
Yeah, Mexico third and Saudi Arabia four. But I think Saudi one of the better Asian teams as well, so they might be a tougher test than people expect. So it might be closer than that, but I think Poland should get second considering Lewandowski and etc.
Yeah, I've got it exactly the same way. Argentina, Poland, Mexico, and Saudi. The injuries to the Mexican players is a concern. Poland should be close enough to full strength. Now, they have lost Dragowski, but he would have been backup keeper at best, so I'm not sure it'll make much difference. I think the Saudis will be tougher than people think. I think, the Saudis and Qatar and Iran, like the climate is going to favour them anyway. So those players should have a bit of an advantage there. But Argentina, Poland, Mexico, and Saudi Arabia for me. Karl, what about yourself?
For a bit of difference, I've gone Mexico second in this one. I think, actually, if Raul Jimenez has not made a full recovery, that might benefit them because he's so one-dimensional and not very mobile anymore, and obviously he's not been in any kind of formal fitness this season. By contrast, they've been starting Henry Martin up front, centre-forward, and they've also had Alexis Vega playing from one of the flanks, and then presumably they'll start Lozano still on the other side. I think that's not a bad three in terms of mobility. None of them elite goal scorers, but really good movement, really good build-up play between each other. They seem to have a fairly decent understanding in the last few matches, so I'm going to back them to do enough between the team overall. I think they lack a bit of they lack a Lewandowski, basically, don't they, in terms of a direct comparison to Poland. But I think maybe just about overall they're going to benefit from a little bit of a renewed look of the attack, let's say.
Cool. So that's our first difference in terms of who goes through there. Moving on then to Group D, I have France top, Denmark second, and Australia in third with Tunisia fourth. I just think the French will be too strong. I know they've got some issues defensively, but there's just a ridiculous amount of talent in that squad. And the biggest concern I have is Didier Deschamps. I just don't think he's very good. I think they won the last World Cup in spite of him. And I think if they win it again this year, it will be in spite of him. And God knows what club job he'll get if he's a two-time World Cup winning manager. But I just don't think he's very good. I think the Danes are strong defensively. I do worry about Kasper Schmeichel, though. He's in dreadful form. But going forward, they've got a lot of pace. They're very direct. And I really like the manager. I think he's done an outstanding job. And I really like watching them play. The Aussies, I think, I think he'll just be overmatched, and I'm not overly keen on this Tunisia team. Karl, what about you?
I've gone for the same order as you. I was a bit sort of backwards and forwards between Australia and Tunisia for a while until I realised it didn't matter because I had them third and fourth.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. Guy, what about yourself?
I have Denmark first and France second.
I like it. I like it.
Because
give me the logic. Sell it to me.
Deschamps came out yesterday, because we were talking about in one of our WhatsApp groups about how you think Lucas Hernandez will be the left centre-back. Hours afterwards, he came out and said Kanate and Upamecano is left centre-backs and the Hernandez brothers will be left-backs. So, yeah. And then it's going to be a rushed-back Varane as the right centre-back, I presume. I think... And France love an implosion. France and Italy, who obviously aren't here, love an implosion. And I think they may just be lucky that Tunisia and Australia are a bit crap, so the implosion might still get them through. But I think Denmark probably one of the most settled sides in this competition. Mm. Obviously, what was it, the semi-finals of the Euros, which is obviously good for Denmark. I think just them being settled. I think in the Nations League, didn't Denmark either draw with them twice or beat them a couple of times, if I remember correctly? So I think a settled team like Denmark against an injury-plagued, bit of a mess France, who have injuries in basically every area apart from the forward line. I think Denmark being settled might start a bit stronger, whereas France might grow into the competition.
Karl, he's selling me on this because Lucas Hernandez is unquestionably the best left-sided centre-back they have, largely because he's the only left-sided centre-back they have aside from Kimpembe. Upamecano and Kanate both prefer to play centre-back. This does seem like nonsense from Deschamps. As Guy mentions, you've got Varane working his way back. I think they'd be better off playing Koundé right back, Theo left back, Ibu and Lucas Hernandez. I think as the centre backs, I think that's a back four that can go and win you the World Cup.
He's been playing a back three, hasn't he? As well?
That's what I was going to say. They have played a back three like a lot of the time, but it hasn't worked great. And also throughout that squad, there's nobody there that I would pick right wing back. Nobody. They have to.
You're telling me Pavard can't play right wing back?
Well, I'm sure he can. He can do it very well. He can get you far.
He can stand there.
Are you that person who has everything? The coolest merch and those must-have fan threads? Well, over at our Anfield Index shop, we've gone that extra mile when it comes to pimping up your Liverpool collection. From our popular range of bespoke design t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies and hats, to our signature edition mugs, prints and coasters, all provided with fast worldwide shipping. We have something for every red. We also stock official LFC merchandise and are licensed with the Premier League and UEFA to sell official iron-on shirt badges and sleeve patches. As a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off everything with coupon code AIPRO10. Just head over to AnfieldIndex.shop or find us on Etsy by searching for Anfield Index.
They have to play it back forward, this squad. There's nobody there that I would put right wing back. I mean, maybe at a massive stretch. Obviously, later in the games, you can throw a
Kingsley Coman, maybe.
Yeah, Coman or Dembele or whatever out to that side. But to play all game long, you're probably looking at either Koundé having to play there, which is not going to make the best use of him. Maybe someone like, take your pick of the midfielders, like Guendouzi could probably do it from an athletic and positional perspective, but is he a good outlet? No. Is he going to be good build-up play? No. There's nobody there you would use to play right wing back.
Who will be France's midfield, by the way? I'm guessing it'll be Tchouaméni plus one.
Tchouaméni and one, and then it'll depend on if they have they play Griezmann as the 10 behind one forward, or sometimes they were playing Griezmann behind two and a diamond midfield. But it'll be Tchouaméni and then probably Guendouzi now. It would have been Kamara if he hadn't got himself injured, obviously. But
doesn't he have a boner for Rabiot?
Yeah, Rabiot will play if they play a three. Like we say, we don't even know how many they're playing in defence and never mind in midfield. So
that's true.
Still a lot.
I thought he would bring Malo Gusto, the young right back from Lyon, just to have an actual right back who can play as a wing back and give him the option to play a front three or to play a back three with wing backs. But he decided not to. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he went with Tchouaméni and Camavinga in midfield if he's going to play a 2, just because they've got a bit of synergy together. But I think, Rabiot or Guendouzi's more likely. Neither's ideal. It is bizarre. Like, you look at the players that France have produced over the last 6-7 years. They've got unlimited centre-backs. They've got a good crop of left-backs. Loads of midfield options, loads of wingers, plenty of strikers. Even some decent goalkeepers, with Mike Magnon and Areola and Albin Lafont obviously didn't make the squad. But they just don't have anyone you'd look at as a right back and say, he's the one I'm going to nail my colours to the mast on.
The reverse
Leo Dubois. Yeah, basically. Leo Dubois and Jonathan Klaus are the 2 best right backs they have, and he hasn't brought either of them.
It does seem odd, but playing 4 centre-backs probably won them the World Cup last time.
Won the World Cup, exactly, so why not roll with it? Right, let's roll with Group E then. Karl, what have you got for Group E?
A moral dilemma. I think one of the big 2 are going to go out. Spain, Germany, obviously, is the expected 2 in terms of how good they are and the level of players that they have at club football. But I fancy Japan to get through here. I think that they have pretty decent organisational to certainly frustrate Spain, who we know can have struggles, let's say, sometimes in turning possession dominance into actually goal-scoring chances. But now Germany, being without Timo Werner, has mostly been the focal point for them in attack. It's still a little bit up for debate as how they're going to set up now. It could just be Gnabry straight in for him, plays as the number 9. And Sané's magnificent early season form was as a 10. He doesn't really play as a 10 for Germany. He'll still play off the side probably. Musiala is probably a really good bet to play as the 10 as well, unless they play Thomas Muller, who himself has not been amazing either. So I think that there's still a lot to sort out in Germany's attack. There are definitely debates over the effectiveness of Spain's attack, and I just feel like Japan are going to do enough to frustrate one, beat Costa Rica, and maybe sneak through on 4, maybe 5 points, maybe even 6 points, 2 wins if they beat one of the big ones. So I've been backwards and forwards between. I can see really good arguments for both Germany and Spain to not go through. In the end, I'm going to go Spain top, Japan second, Germany third, and Costa Rica fourth.
I think this is one of the toughest groups because Costa Rica are kind of expected to be the whipping boys, but I think they're going to be okay. Like, I don't think they're going to go through. I have them finishing bottom, but I think they're going to be tough to beat. Like, they're a really well-organised team. They've been around for a good while together as a group. They were pretty decent coming through the qualification and were a little bit unfortunate.
They're a horrible side to try and beat. Like, if you don't score early or you don't manage to draw them out of the
they'll
street,
just grind you down.
Yeah, they're very, very happy to go the distance and try to get something late on.
Guy, what about you? What way do you have this group?
Does Brian Ruiz still play for Costa Rica?
Yes.
Costa Rica top. Let's go, boys. No, I have. I've opened a Brian Ruiz Wikipedia page there. That's not what I want. I have Germany top because I think I trust Hansi Flick over Luis Enrique a bit more. I also have Japan second.
Yeah.
I have Spain third because they're playing 2 left-footed centre-backs. We have Brian Ruiz fourth. Maybe put him third because Spain, they disgust me.
See, I've got it the same way as Guy. I've got Germany top. I think Gnabry's definitely an option, but I do wonder if he might go with one of the youngsters up front and just see what he can get from them. I've got Japan second because I just adore watching them play. They're just so technically gifted. It's outrageous. I've got Spain third. I think Luis Enrique might be the most overrated manager in the world. I don't know who's scoring goals for them. Morata is not somebody I'd be putting any faith in. They left Thiago at home.
Morata's like a guarantee of 1 goal in the group stage, isn't he? He's like, he'll get enough chances to score 1 and it might win a game, but it could also be in the game that they win 4-0 anyway. That's
it. Or they'll be 3-1 down because he's already missed a bunch of sitters and he'll score late And yeah, and like I don't. There's no area of that Spanish team. I like the idea of a Gavi, Rodri, Pedri midfield, but I don't think that's what he's going to play. I assume Koke will play.
Busquets.
I don't like the defense. Busquets is going to play, and let's be really honest, he has been atrocious this season. He is so slow. Defensively, he's dropped off massively. On the ball, he's still very, very good. But defensively, he's a shell of himself. And I've got Costa Rica bottom. Let's go to Group F then. Guy, what have you got?
I have left myself on mute. Group F, I have Belgium top. It's weird with Belgium because you always think they should be one of the favourites of the competition, and you think Eden Hazard has not played football in 2 years. Lukaku's not played football at all this year. It'll just be De Bruyne on his own. Croatia second, it's kind of at the end of their cycle, but I think they're just efficient enough. Morocco third and Canada fourth, but I think it wouldn't surprise me if any of the two went through in this group, like including Belgium, because I think they're very much at the end of a cycle because they've not really brought through Onana and etc. in the midfield yet, and I'm guessing Vertonghen and Alderweireld are still the defenders. I don't know any other Belgian defenders.
I think that is likely to be the pair. My expectation here is that Belgium top the group at 9 points and then spectacularly fall apart in the knockout rounds. I wouldn't trust their manager, wouldn't trust the defense, wouldn't trust Hazard to perform consistently through a tournament. They're going to be really reliant on De Bruyne. You've got Lukaku in the squad. He's barely played this season. So, if he's not available, who's up front? Some of the youngsters that should have developed, like Jeremy Doku, haven't kicked on over the last 2 years. I think they're still too heavily reliant on that golden generation that let them down too many times. But I've got them top. I've got Croatia second. I've got Canada third, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Canadians snuck their way through. And I've got Morocco bottom because Riyad Mahrez is only allowed to score when his team are 3-0 up and get a penalty. And
He's also Algerian.
Oh, he's Algerian. For fuck's sake.
You can just say I'll edit in, just say Ziyech and I'll edit that in.
Yeah, that's Yeah. Riyad Mahrez not at the World Cup. Leave it in. I got myself all confused. Yeah, I don't trust Hakim Ziyech either. And they've brought him back into the squad. They kicked him out for being a troublemaker. So
they're just a very defensive team, aren't they? With Hakimi doing vibes.
It's literally give the ball to Hakimi, stand back, get out of his way, and let's hope for the best. I'm not fancying them. Belgium, Croatia, Canada, and Morocco. Karl, what have you got?
I've gone different to both of you boys. I have gone Croatia top, Belgium second, Morocco third, Canada fourth. I was sort of humming and hawing over Morocco as an annoyance to get through. I think Amina Harit's injury, a horrible injury, by the way.
Horrendous.
An hour before leaving the World Cup.
That's one of the worst injuries I've ever seen. Watching a game live, it was awful.
I think with him out, it's again very, very difficult for them to have sort of a genius point in attack. Let's say like Ziyech, I don't think is. He can turn it on for the national team or whatever, but he hasn't played well. He hasn't played very much full stop. Lots and lots of their key players, like Nayef Aguerd, has obviously not had too much football again this season. Young winger I spoke about before, Abdi Eze, really, really good talent, but again comes into this having been injured, probably only going to be used off the bench. I think there's a bit too much for them to do, even though I think in Mazraoui and Hakimi, their fullbacks are among the most interesting pair at this World Cup. Croatia, I think, are being a bit undervalued, to be honest. I think that they are not necessarily as high-profile names as when they got to the final 4 years ago, when I didn't think they would get anywhere near the final. But as a group, I think they're doing quite well. They do lack a bit of elite talent in attack, but what they've done is share the goals and creativity around the team really well. Nations League, they were very, very strong, beat all of Austria, France and Denmark relatively comfortably. Didn't concede against either Denmark or France. won that group, obviously. They've been in very, very good form, so I'm going to back them to finish top of this one. Belgium to have enough individuality and or Kevin De Bruyne to come second. And Canada, I really hope that they do well, because it's a story and a thing for them to be there, and they have some really good individuals. But again, I think that key players not being absolutely tip-top shape is really going to hurt them. Atiba Hutchinson is ancient and hasn't played all year long. Obviously, Alphonso Davies has had a hamstring injury recently. If that's not absolutely perfect, then again, you're relying on someone to perform in a way which really puts pressure on that injury area. And Jonathan David obviously is going to need some good service for him to be able to play at his best level. So I'm a little bit lower on them than I would have been otherwise.
Who are the likely starting centre-backs for the Croatians, Karl?
I mean, I presume it's entrenched into Canadian folklore that if fit and available, Domagoj Vida has to play every minute of every competitive match ever. So presumably he'll still be involved. And I know you're going to hate it, but I think Lovren still starts.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And there's why they're not winning the group. Let's go.
If they go with Josko Gvardiol at left back alongside him for one of the difficult games, let's say against Belgium, instead of having a more attacking out like Sosa, I think that they will still frustrate them. They're very, very well built in midfield as well.
They are. My concern is they're very fucking old. Like, it's a very, very, very old team.
Is Brozovic fit? He's missed the season so far, hasn't he?
Brozovic has missed most of the season. He's not fully fit. Kovacic isn't fully fit. Modric is 37. Perisic is 33. Kramaric is 31. The two centre-backs are 33. I don't fancy them. I think this team has aged past. I know that they've got all the experience playing together. They will be hard to beat. I think they'll potentially do okay, but Lovren will cost them. He's a disaster. I mean, he scraped his way through the last World Cup, making errors galore, and I expect more of the same. Let's go to Group G. I've got Serbia top. It's my big surprise.
Yes.
I've got Serbia top. I think the size and physicality and aggression that they play with is going to cause some problems for teams. I've got them top, Brazil second, Switzerland third, and Cameroon in fourth. Karl, what do you have?
Brazil top, Serbia second, Switzerland third, Cameroon fourth. I think Serbia exactly the same as you, but Brazil have one of the best set-up teams, and I think maybe even a draw in that game, to be fair, but it might be enough for Brazil on goal difference to be top still.
Yeah, I mean, I have massive concerns about Brazil's fullback and centre-back situations. Their fullbacks are a joke. Like,
worst in
not one of those should be in the squad. Danilo is awful. Dani Alves is 40. Alexandro hasn't been good since about 2018. And Alex Telles, I'm sorry, I've no idea how he's in the squad. I really don't understand how he's in the squad. He's been awful for a year and a half now.
Where is Alex Telles?
Sevilla.
Oh,
who are currently in the bottom three, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think you can get right at that Brazilian team. Thiago Silva in a back four is a liability. And I think he's been largely poor this season for Chelsea. I think he's been very fortunate not to be sent off at least twice. I just don't think he's good enough anymore. And I think that defence is going to cost them. I don't think they're going to win the World Cup. I don't really even have them in my kind of closed circle of potential winners. Guy, what have you got then in Group G?
I have the same as Karl, but Serbia are either coming bottom of this group or finishing third in the World Cup. I think there's zero middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Group H, Karl, what have you got?
This is the most difficult one that I've found, to be honest, because I really like and really hate bits of all four squads. Portugal obviously have the most individual quality, but have bad decisions in which bits of that quality to use in the actual team. Korea's side, I like certain parts of it and have no idea how some parts of it are or will be put together. Uruguay's, I think I like probably more components than any of the other squads, but it's still Uruguay, and they still do certain things which are not overly helpful for the team. But overall, I'm going to go Uruguay top, Portugal second, Korea, Ghana.
And I have it exactly the same. What about you, Guy?
I have Portugal, Uruguay, Ghana, Korea, because even if Son misses one game with his Phantom of the Opera mask, I presume, yeah, it might be. I know I don't know too many Korean players other than the Napoli centre-back, to be honest, but I assume they're one of the better teams from Asia, obviously, being at the World Cup. Ghana have all their new lads who couldn't be asked played for other countries now, so I think that might be fun, but Uruguay are pure Michael Jordan last dance for me. They're going to win a World Cup, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think they're an old team as well, like the Croatians, but I think they've brought through young players a lot better. And I think with Valverde in the form that he's in, he's arguably the best midfield player in the world right now. Darwin is obviously the best striker in the world right now.
Yeah.
And then
I think Ronaldo's going to stat pad this group and get 9 goals, get the golden boot, and not score in the knockout stages, by the way. Just that's what he does.
See, I think if Portugal had Andre Silva starting as their 9 or Diogo Jota starting as the 9, I genuinely think I might pick them to win the whole thing. But he is a net negative no matter what way you look at it. He will score goals and hurt the team because that's what he does. And it's been the case with Portugal now for a few years. And we've seen it at club level, at United and at Juve. He makes teams worse, which is why I don't think they'll top the group. But I think they'll get through. Yeah, I mean, I think they'd be much better off without him. Let's move on then. Go ahead.
Just before we go on the Ghana squad, I think that this is a really interesting beginning of a squad. So maybe like for the next World Cup, you could be looking at a very, very strong 11 here. And obviously that quality that they do have could result in them winning a game or maybe even 2 and going through. It's just that it's very unreliable at the moment and it's very, very new. Like they have, I think, about 9 players in the squad who have 0, 1 or 2 caps. So for that to come together all of a sudden and just play very, very well is well, look at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this Ghana squad in terms of the talent that's there. I think they're a little bit light at centre-back. But
Salisu helps there.
Salisu is a massive help. Obviously, they've got Lamptey now as well for right-back. So there's half of what could be a really exciting long-term defence. But
11
the other half...
11 in the squad who have 0, 1 or 2 caps.
That's just too many. And it is very clearly a case where they're bringing them along for the experience of the whole thing.
Yeah, build them in.
But yeah, I mean, none of the goalkeepers have more than 10 caps. That's a concern. You know, you look at the attack, other than AEye, nobody has more than 11 caps. So yeah, I would have some concerns there. Surprising stat of the day, Thomas Partey, who's 29, has only 40 caps for Ghana. That's a bit of a shock.
I don't know what's more surprising, the fact he's 29 or that number of caps.
Yeah, true. But like, you know, you look at the likes of Kudus and Sulemana, Ishuhaka, these are really talented attacking players that are going to form a big part of what Ghana will be. And they've got Inaki Williams now. It'll be interesting to see how he does. Semenyo from Bristol.
Tariq Lamptey for the first time in 2 years.
I'm looking forward to watching them.
Yeah, big good development.
They're too young. I just think they're too young. Right, let's go to the knockout stages. So, round of 16. We might as well just do these one at a time. Because we should all have different brackets here.
Yeah.
So I've got Netherlands, Iran, and I'm picking Netherlands. I've got Argentina, Denmark. I'm going to pick Argentina. I've got Germany, Croatia. I'm going to pick Germany. I've got Serbia, Portugal. I'm going to pick Serbia. I've got England, Ecuador. It pains me, but I'm going to pick England. I've got France, Poland. I'm going to pick France. Belgium, Japan. I'm going to pick Japan. And then I've got Uruguay, Brazil. And I'm picking Uruguay. So, Karl, what have you got for your round of 16?
All right, some have matched up the same and others are definitely not. Netherlands, Wales is my first one, and I'm going for Netherlands to absolutely pump Wales, to be perfectly honest. Argentina, Denmark, same as yours. I'm going for Argentina. I have England going up against Ecuador and going for England. France against Mexico. I'm going to go for France there, although I think that could be a bit of a wild match if that happens. Spain against Belgium. I mean, Guy has now talked me out of wanting or thinking that Spain are going to win any points whatsoever or score any goals. So I feel like I should pick Belgium, but if that matchup happens, I think I would still go for Spain. I'm going to go for them.
Karl, it's either two left-footed centre-backs or it's Eric Garcia. They're both unacceptable.
I honestly, if Garcia plays, maybe Spain don't go anywhere at all except straight back home. Yeah. Brazil, Portugal is my next one. Again, should be a decent matchup, but I will go with Brazil. Croatia, Japan. That one's going to penalties. I'm going to flip a coin. Can't decide. Let's see who goes through.
Dejan's taking a penalty. So you know where that's ending. You know how that's ending.
Right. Who's heads, Guy? Pick who's heads.
Heads can be Croatia.
And it's heads. There you go. The virtual coin online flipped and fell, with Lovren putting his final penalty top bins to send his nation.
Harry Maguire, top bins.
There you go.
There it is.
My last one is probably A, the most difficult to pick, and B, maybe the best match of this entire World Cup in my predictor. Uruguay v Serbia. This might be the biggest clash of power and styles and fury and all other adjectives that we can use for big, exciting games. I think I might pick Serbia there. I think Uruguay might just be a bit more prone to coming out of shape, and Serbia have a really set way of playing. I think I'll just about go for Serbia.
Hello, I'm here to annoy you. I'm here to annoy you into listening to more of me and more of others on EPL Index. We don't just have the Anfield Index stuff. We've got EPL Index as well, which covers the entirety of the Premier League. And we have 3 podcasts and a whole bunch of really good writing on EPLindex.com. The podcasts are my own two-footed podcast, which is every day at 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, covering the whole league. We have A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. You know Tadiwa, he does Anfield Index. He presents A Tad Predictable before every Premier League match week. And then Kevin DeVries and his crew on the EPL Roundtable, they're every week after the Premier League match week. So make sure you listen to everything we're doing on EPL Index and follow us there on Twitter at EPL Index. Thank you. Bye-bye. And Guy, what about you?
Mine has got a few spicy games in this, boys. I have Netherlands beating Wales. Then, lads, I have Argentina beating France.
Decent.
Yes. Then I have Germany beating Croatia, Brazil beating Uruguay. Gareth Southgate's bribing officials and getting easy draws continues, as he's got Ecuador in mind as well. So they're obviously winning that one. Denmark beating Poland, Belgium beating Japan, Portugal beating Serbia, because I worked something out and I needed to change Portugal to win. Otherwise, something was happening further down the line. But yes, I changed it to Portugal beating Serbia.
Right, so quarterfinals then. Karl, why don't you go through?
Okay, let's hear the matches first so we can see how different it is at this point, I think, before we do who wins what. So I've got Netherlands v Argentina.
Yeah, I have that.
Same for me.
Spain versus Brazil.
Mine's Germany v Brazil.
Mine's Germany v Serbia.
England versus France.
Yeah.
Denmark for mine.
And Croatia v Serbia.
Belgium, Portugal.
I have Japan, Uruguay as my last one.
Is my one allowed to be played? Croatia,
Maybe.
Serbia. I don't know who's. I'm picking Serbia to win that one. France are going to beat England. Spain v Brazil are going to beat. Brazil will win that. Netherlands, Argentina. Messi v Van Dijk. Who's winning? Go on Argentina. There you go. Argentina into the semis.
Guy, what's yours then? What are your four?
So, Netherlands, Argentina. I've gone Argentina. Germany, Brazil. I've gone Brazil. Although flashbacks to 2010 might happen there.
Revenge mission.
Yes, see if they can outdo the 7. Was it 7-1, was it? Yeah. England beating Denmark because relatively easy draws, because, well, that's what England do. And then I have Portugal beating Belgium. I originally had it Serbia in this position beating Belgium also, but I switched it to Portugal, as I said. But I think Portugal or Serbia would probably beat Belgium. I will flip-flop as I go between them two.
I have Netherlands beating Argentina, to be different.
Ooh.
I have Serbia beating Germany, France to beat England, and Uruguay to beat Japan. So my semi-finals are Netherlands, Serbia, France, Uruguay. Guy, what are your semi-finals, and what way do you have them? Actually, give me your semi-finals, then Karl, give me yours, and then Guy, you give us your predictions.
So the crap one first, England against Portugal. And my other semi-final is Argentina against Brazil.
Yeah, I've got the same one as Guy there, Argentina against Brazil, but I've ended up with France against Serbia.
So two of us have Serbia making the semi-finals.
Come in third, lads. Told you. Come in third.
Right, Guy, what have you got then for your semi-final results?
So I've put Portugal to save us from England. Or could be Serbia in my overall alternative dimension.
Serbia were battering.
Harry Maguire and Eric Dyer against
Mitrovic and Blajovic.
And Sergei Milinkovic-Savic arriving from midfield.
Who's tracking Milinkovic-Savic? Can I just ask that?
Jude Bellingham. Yeah, I have Argentina beating Brazil, and I have Portugal beating England for the fanboy final of Messi v Ronaldo.
Oh, Lord. Karl, what is your semi-final outcomes?
Right, so I'm picking France to beat Serbia. The dream does die there. The other one, Argentina v Brazil. I would prefer Argentina to win this. Results between them over the last couple of years have mostly gone not swimmingly, let's say. Obviously, the Copa America final, Argentina won 1-0. They had a Super Clásico game just before that, I think, which was also 1-0 Argentina. And I'm trying to remember what the qualifiers were. One of them was 0-0 and one of them was called off, wasn't it? Because there was that pitch invasion for the COVID tests of the Argentina boys, and they never played it again in the end. So Brazil don't have a great record directly against Argentina of late, and yet in like qualifying and across games as a whole, they have a far, far better record than Argentina do against all other clubs. But I do wonder if, with that mentality and the mindset and the upper hand and all the rest of it, Argentina edge out Brazil. So I'll go with them.
I am continuing the dream, and I have Serbia beating the Netherlands. My main logic is I don't want Virgil to lose the final. I have France beating Uruguay in my other semi-final. So I've got a Serbia-France final. So, another Balkan nation steps up to the plate to take on France in my final. Guy, what's your final? You've got Messi versus Ronaldo in your finals. You've got Argentina, Brazil, Argentina, Portugal. And Karl, you have...
Argentina, France.
Argentina, France. Right.
I like Dave's more, to be honest. I like the fact that Serbia could win it, and will win it, obviously, in Dave's prediction.
You're going to be disappointed. I've got France beating them in the final.
Varane's never seen Mitrovic and Vlahovic in his life.
I've got France beating them in the final. See, here's what I'm thinking. I think by the time you get to the final, Varane's almost certainly injured, and Ibu has stepped into the team and is just monstering everybody. So I've got Ibu to put Vlahovic in one pocket, Mitrovic in the other, and then to say to Milinkovic-Savic, if you want some, you come over here as well. So I'm going France to win the World Cup. Karl, what are you going with?
I'm surprised and a little bit dismayed that this Argentina defence might go all the way to the final.
Yeah, I can't back Otamendi, I'm afraid.
I really do like parts of this Argentina side, but I do have questions over how this central midfield goes together now. Lo Celso being out is bad for continuity because he's been a regular part of it, but I don't actually like him that much as a player, but he plays a big role in this team. You can't overlook that. But even so, a defence which is probably going to have a very defensive Tagliafico on one side. Presumably Foyt will start right back, but that has changed quite a lot over the last year or so. And then Otamendi with Romero. Is Romero going to be fit all the way through? Are they going to chop and change like they did in qualifying? My God, his name's gone completely out of my head. Manchester United defender Lisandro Martinez. Is he going to be starting regularly? I mean, there's lots to wonder about here.
If they play against Serbia at any point in this competition, it's over.
Yes.
It's GG, lads.
I'm actually disappointed in myself that I didn't pick Argentina to beat the Netherlands, because then I would have had Argentina-Serbia and the possibility that I finally get to see Mitrovic against Vern Troyer. So, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself there.
I've gone with France to win because I think the same. If the teams do change and injuries happen and managers have to make do with not necessarily a second string, but certainly 2 or 3 key areas might be down to the second choice, France have got the better depth. Other than maybe in central midfield, France have the better depth than anybody at all, so they're my winner.
And Guy, who's winning the fanboy special then?
I think I'd rather England win it than Portugal win it. I've got Argentina winning it.
So you've got Argentina.
The demons of, was it 2010 when he got to the final? And there's no Higuain to ruin it this time.
My big concern with the Argentines is that defence. Foyt is decent and Tagliafico's decent, but Otamendi is not. He just isn't. And I just don't understand how he's still first choice. I assume it's because Messi picks the team and they're friends. And if I'm relying on Romero's fitness, I'm screwed, because the poor fella he can't play a consistent run of games without picking up some sort of knock or niggle somewhere along the way. Right then, last thing. My 3rd and 4th place playoff would be Netherlands versus Uruguay, Virgil versus Darwin. I'm going for the Netherlands to finish 3rd and Uruguay to finish 4th. What is your 3rd and 4th place playoff, Guy?
Mine would be England-Brazil, funnily enough, so that could be fun, but I'd have to pick Brazil because I feel like they'd take it more seriously, because I remember the Belgium-England game was just a travesty in the last one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd probably go for Brazil.
And Karl, what's your 3rd and 4th place and who's winning?
Mine's Brazil versus Serbia, and I've used the same logic as Guy, but with a different outcome. So I think Serbia would take it a lot more seriously than Brazil.
Yes.
So I've gone for Serbia to get that one, and Brazil to give a few people like Dani Alves some minutes.
You love to see it. So I've got Serbia finishing 2nd. Karl has them 3rd, and Guy has disrespected Serbia. To any Serbian listeners, just don't.
Well, do you want Serbia finishing 2nd, or do you want England in the World Cup final? What do you want?
How would England have gotten to the World Cup final?
Because in my situation, England beat Denmark.
Yeah.
I've changed it so Portugal beat Serbia. Then I'd have Serbia playing Belgium, so Serbia would beat Belgium.
But you would have had England versus Serbia in that semi-final.
I think England would beat Serbia.
With that defence.
And just meat and potatoes, it's what they do.
Listen. Mitrovic would have a field day against John Stones. John Stones is 6'3" of quivering.
He would play a
wind.
back three of Kyle Walker, Eric Dyer, and Harry Maguire.
He wouldn't though, would he?
Yeah.
He wouldn't though, would he? Because, again, the same thing would be happening to England as would be to Argentina and all the rest of them, and England would be down to playing Conor Cody at centre-back.
Yes.
And Conor
Cody's starting the tournament.
Conor Cody's not winning aerials against either of those two boys up front.
Ben White, Conor Cody, and Luke Shaw in a back three against the Serbian lads.
That's what you want to see.
I've got a couple of questions for you both.
Okay, go ahead.
Who's winning your golden ball? Sorry, start that again. Yeah, who's winning your golden boots based on... Let's remember that basically it's, 20 years or so now since anybody scored more than 6. So 3 or 4 in the group stage and you will be in with a shout at the very least. Obviously, if you're going further than that, more opportunity. So golden boot winner and then also golden ball winner, which again, for a bit of knowledge, is never really a defender since the very first World Cup and is not recently, over the last few World Cups, anyone who plays for the winning team.
Ooh.
I am going to say for my golden boot, probably Kylian Mbappe. And for the golden ball, Fede Valverde.
Nice.
I think he carries his form into the World Cup. I think the World Cup will be suited to his game. And you just don't see many midfielders that can do everything the way he does. And I think he can dominate games, especially in a World Cup scenario where you're going to have a couple of teams that just aren't well set up. I do think he's going to be really, really good. Alternatively, Milinkovic-Savic.
It's always useful.
Milinkovic-Savic should be a shout.
2 or 3 positions at once. It's a bit of an unfair advantage for Uruguay, isn't it?
Guy, who have you got then for your golden boot and your golden ball?
I reckon, because it should be Ronaldo's last tournament, I think Ronaldo's stat pad enough in the group stage, and I think they'll just give him the ball out of pity. Probably the right word. They saw that Piers Morgan interview and went, golden ball already, lad. There you go. Let's go with that.
And Karl, who have you got?
I am going to go for Vinicius Junior as my golden boot winner. I think against Cameroon, Switzerland, he might be looking at sort of 2 or 3 there. And then if you get maybe another 2 across the run to the final or the semi-finals and third place playoff, I think 5 might do it this year. So I'll go for Vinny. And for golden ball winner, getting to the final, age appropriate, big name, it's got to be Messi. He's on the losing side.
Yeah, if Argentina get to the final and lose, he's almost certain to get the golden ball. I don't think there's any doubt. Vinny's an interesting shout, actually. I have Brazil going out quite early because I can't get on board with the idea of Danilo, Thiago Silva, and Alexandro being part of a defence that goes anywhere. I know Ali's in unbelievable form. They've got Marquinhos. But I think we've seen a significant drop-off from Casemiro in terms of his ability to shield the defence and protect those behind him. They're going to play Fred next to him. I'm just not getting on board with this type of insult to the legacy of great Brazilian teams from the past.
They have a fairly routine run in my one, which I think is the main reason they get into the semis here. Like Portugal, I don't really think are going to do very much just because there's too many misfit parts that they keep using. And then Spain, as I've already discussed, I don't necessarily think they'll even get through, but I have got them through, so that's not a difficult game for Brazil, even though it sounds like it is up against Spain.
Right. Well, we will leave that there. That is our World Cup predictions. Myself and Karl have France winning the World Cup. Guy has gone for Argentina. I think if there is real justice in the world of football, Argentina probably do win it and Messi gets his crowning glory and finally puts to bed any kind of silliness that Ronaldo was ever on his level. So we'll leave it at that. We will be back with more in a couple of days. See you soon. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.